I recently read Great Expectations, and it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be.
Have you got pets? Who's got pets, yes? I can't have sex if the dog is looking at me. Those big eyes looking up as if to say, what are you doing? And that's why... I didn't fuck a dog. We made love. I'm 36 years of age. You know what that means? It means the only way I get to be described as young now is if I die. I think you know you're getting old. I was watching porn last week. I found myself thinking, that bed looks comfy. The worst thing about being told you've got Alzheimer's is it doesn't just happen the once. And I'll be telling that joke again later on, if I remember. I've got a friend whose nickname is Shagger. You might think, that's pretty cool. She doesn't like it. Per square inch of head, people with red hair have 750 fewer friends than normal people. A lot, isn't it? Are there any redheads in? I think I'm all right if I look away. Feminists say, and you may agree with this, you may not, feminists say, a woman's work is never done. Maybe they got themselves organised a little bit better. It's a bit of an icy stare you with me there, madam. What you've got to understand is that's postmodern misogyny. That joke is in fact steeped in irony. So don't you worry your pretty little head about it, love. Well, it's early on in the evening. Let's try some easy jokes to start with, shall we? Good luck. I was in the south of France. I saw a brownie on a school trip. She was holding up a book. It said on the front, Rough Guide. I thought, yeah, she's not a looker. That's the easiest joke in the show. If you don't get that, you might as well fuck off now, mate. I saw a proper scientific survey. It said that women can tell if a man wants a baby just by looking at the shape of his face. Presumably, if it's like this, that means he doesn't want a baby. And if it's like this, it means the conception will involve a turkey baster. Well, that was my gay face. Was that not clear enough? Fine, have it your way. Sorry, I'd like to apologise for that mime. I neglected the balls. When I'm away from home, I sometimes get lovesick. Well, they call it chlamydia. Do you get this? Do you get the super patronising warning from the waiter about the hot plate? Do you get that when you go out for a meal? Yeah. It arrives and the waiter goes, be careful, the plates are very hot. You think, yeah, I'm a grown-up, I think I can operate a plate. Also, I can't help but notice, Mr. patronising waiter, you just put it down with your hand. But it's too hot for my little fingers. I'll tell you what, Mr. patronising waiter, shall we see if it's hot? Shall we? Ah! That's really hot. I don't want to be a dick, but you should have said. I was doing a gig a couple of weeks ago. I got talking to a girl down the front and asked her where she was from. She said, I'm from outside Birmingham. I said, really? So am I. What part of Birmingham aren't you from? I had one of those serious relationship conversations the other week with my girlfriend where she sat me down and talked at me for about 6 hours. I hadn't realised until then that when a man says he is spoken for, that is quite literally what he means. She said to me, Jimmy, we're at a crossroads in our relationship. Down one road is hard work and commitment, but ultimately, happiness. And down the other road, well, the other road is a dead end. And I said, that's not a crossroads, that's a T-junction. Well, I'm glad you laughed. She went fucking mental. Every night after the show, I have attractive women banging on my dressing room door, and sometimes I let them out. Are there any comedy groupies in here this evening? Any gag hags? Any chuckle fuckers? The only reason I ask is if any girls come up to me after the show looking for sex, I'm going to have to disappoint you.
I mean, we can have sex. Just it will be quite disappointing. I wouldn't lie to you, it'd be like throwing a sausage up an alleyway. More information than some of you wanted, OK.
Who here's got kids? Kind of, was that? What, sorry? All right, Jimmy. What? What? What was that? You chipped in with something.
Go on, Jimmy.
You said, go on, Jimmy?
Yes.
Oh, right, ironically, slowing things down. You often do that, just stop people in the street and go, on with you, Dave. I just stopped you to tell you to continue. I was in the cinema last week with a friend. He turned to me. He said, I'm just going to the gents. Do you want anything? I said, yeah, bring us back some piss. Thanks very much. Maybe one of those little minty things from your urinal. You know, they're called urinal cakes. There's a disappointing birthday. Did you get me a cake? Is not your favourite.
Do you read the Sunday papers, Birmingham? Do you all read the Sunday papers? I like the papers on a Sunday morning. I think it's a nice time to reflect on the last week and also to look ahead for the next week. We read the Sunday papers like the News of the World in bed, Sunday morning, a couple of weeks ago, tea, toast, Sunday papers. What could be nicer? What could be more British? Anyway, my girlfriend turns to me. There's some sex scandal in the News of the World, as there invariably is. And my girlfriend turned to me and went, I hope I never find out you're having an affair. I said, me too. I said to my girlfriend, on Saturday, how would you like to go shopping with the girls, get yourself some new shoes, get your hair done in a different style, and then go out for a couple of bottles of Chardonnay? She said, that sounds brilliant. I said, good, because we're breaking up. My partner recently lost 11 stone. Well, I say that. I left her. Fat cow.
As I'm sure you all would have ascertained, I'm quite middle class, and I'm from the home counties. So I don't have an accent. This is just how things sound when they're pronounced properly. Not that there's anything wrong with being working class these days. Being working class is very much like masturbation. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Of course, it's nothing to be proud of either. And both give you calluses on your hands.
I was at a show recently. I don't know if anyone's had this experience. I was at a show watching a band and standing just under the fire escape, watching a band play, pint on with a mate, relaxing. And a lady from the venue came up to us in the little waistcoat and the little name badge, came up and went, excuse me, you're going to have to move because if there's a fire, you're blocking the exit. I said, I tell you what, love, if there's a fire, I'll move.
I was in a restaurant the other day. It said on the menu, all our food is made with love. I thought, I know a chip shop, they shut down for doing that. I was in a restaurant with a friend. The waiter came up to take the order. I said, I'll have the fish of the day. And my mate went, oh, I wanted that. The fog sign on the motorway. How pointless is that? Who's it for? People driving along thinking, I can't see a fucking thing. I wonder if I got cataracts. Oh no, wait, look, it's fog, what am I like? Do you all do the same thing as me? When you drive normally, you drive like that, yeah? That's the normal driving position. A little bit of fog, you drive like that. You get a little bit closer. You get a better view, just in case the fog is in the car.
Sometimes you can sense a friend wants to take things further. Will it ruin the friendship? Things get hot and heavy on the sofa one night, you think, this doesn't feel right. You're my best friend. You're not even allowed on the couch. Bad dog, down boy. Did I say down boy? I've made it gay.
I was by the seaside recently, and I was thinking about rising sea levels. And this guy next to me was throwing stones into the water. I thought, that's not helping. If anything, you're making matters worse. You know when a man says to you, it's not you, it's me? Ladies, you know when a man says that? It's not you, it's me. We mean that from the heart. That's not bullshit. That's true. It's just a fragment of a longer phrase. It's not you, it's me that's ending this relationship. Because I can't stand the fucking sight of you.
I went on holiday recently, and they told me on holiday, in the hotel, that they had special stuff in the swimming pool that turns the water purple if you pee in the pool. So I didn't pee in the pool. I didn't realise they had stuff for shit. But they clearly did, because they were onto me almost immediately. I told them it was a brown shark. They were having none of it.
Bad things come in threes. Good example of that is Atomic Kitten. Every time I think of Atomic Kitten, actually, I'm slightly saddened because I think, well, somewhere in the northeast, there's a supermarket 3 checkout girls short.
I don't know if this has ever happened to any of you. I was checking into a hotel recently. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning after a gig up in Manchester. Walked into the reception area, and the guy recognised me and went, "Oh, Mr. Carr, we put you in a disabled room." I said, "Right, what's the difference between a normal room and a disabled room?" And he said, "The disabled room's got a walk-in shower." It's taking the fucking piss, isn't it?
I'm trying to lose a bit of weight at the moment, so I'm eating porridge every day for breakfast. Does anyone else eat porridge for breakfast? Yeah. It's fucking boring, isn't it? I'm like 4 spoons in thinking, this is actually depressing. I wouldn't mind dying. I was so bereft of stimulus when I was eating my breakfast the other day, I read the box of porridge. It genuinely says on the box of porridge, no added colouring. I thought, but it's grey. What, do they think I think they might be adding extra grey? I once went out with a girl who was so fat, it felt like I was two-timing her. I'm joking, I didn't go out with her. The big problem they talk about these days is childhood obesity. They talk about that all the time, childhood obesity. And they say these kids are greedy. They're not greedy. They've just got slow metabolisms and very fast, chip-eating hands. There are 1 million obese children in Britain today. Do you realise if they all jumped up and down at the same time, they might lose a little bit of fucking weight?
Well, should we got any Welsh people in? My God, we've got an army. Hello, the Welsh. Now, I've discovered the secret to the Welsh accent isn't so much a phrase, it's more a state of mind. To do a good Welsh accent, you've just got to sound confused. Whose coat is that jacket?
Any Welsh people in? Any Welsh? Oh, it's quite a few. Well, we seem to have contained the problem. I'm loving the Welsh. I like the Welsh language. And I like the Welsh language because it was clearly invented by a dad losing at Scrabble. That's clearly what's happened there. That's not a word. It starts with 3 L's. It is a bloody word. Well, how's it pronounced? Here's a piece of advice for you. Never leave electrical goods plugged in overnight. 2 exceptions, fridges and life supports. You'll waste an awful lot of vegetables. Hang on, that was a bit harsh. We better do something a bit lighter. It's ironic that people with club feet tend not to be very good dancers.
Whenever I'm cooking, I always make sure there are vegetarian options. They can make do, or they can fuck off.
A couple of weeks ago, I failed to perform sexually. Well, how is that a laughing matter? A couple of weeks ago, I failed to perform sexually. I'm not going to go into details. Suffice it to say, I arrived early. My girlfriend said, "Don't worry, that happens to a lot of guys." I said, "Right, there's 2 things the matter with that. Firstly, who are these a lot of guys? And secondly, if it's happening to more than one of us, don't you think it could be your fault?"
Of course, not all fat people are jolly. Some of them are women. You shouldn't be mean. Fat girls have got feelings. Mainly, they're hungry. It's only a joke, isn't it? It's only a bit of fun. I told it the other night and a girl got up and walked out. Well, waddled out. I presume offended, possibly just peckish.
Men propose on their knees. Do you know why that is? It's to get them used to asking for sex when they're married. Yeah. It's a weird reaction. Well done, you. Size isn't important, it's what you do with it. Would you agree with that, ladies?
No!
There's a lady over there that likes a big cock and she doesn't care who knows it. Sorry, it's quite possible you just whispered that and it picked up an echo.
Some young women drink so much they black out and can't remember what happened the night before. If that's you, don't worry, love. I made a video. I shouldn't joke. My granddad was an alcoholic. We used to call him Alco Pops. I remember he used to press flowers. Well, I say that, he used to fall over a lot in the garden.
Premature ejaculation is a problem for many men. Well, I say it's a problem for men. Mainly it's a problem for women. What do we care? We're asleep.
My girlfriend used to get annoyed with me because I used to leave the toilet seat up, so I don't do that anymore. Always put it down. Yeah. Because it's a woman that I love and I want to spend the rest of my life with. It's only a little thing, but a little means a lot. Yeah. Of course, there's no winning with her. Now she's annoyed because it's covered in piss. Do you ever do this, Glasgow? Do you ever get asked to do the washing up and you do it really badly on purpose so you never get asked again? Do you do that? My girlfriend does that with blowjobs. Seriously, her blowjobs suck. And it's not just me, a lot of my friends have commented. I went up to the airport information desk. I said, how many airports are there in the world? She said, I don't know. I went up to the check-in desk. The girl said to me, window seat or aisle? I said, window seat or your what? Are you threatening me? She said, no, calm down. Window, seat or aisle? I said, I'll have a seat. I bought one of those round-the-world air tickets, £1,200, amazing value. 37 hours later, I arrived back at Heathrow. Let's hear it from all the heterosexual men in the room. Give us a shout, all the heterosexual men. I'm guessing from that expression, I can't remember which one heterosexual is. I'm not taking a chance. Maybe this is how they recruit them. PC has gone mad. You can't say Siamese anymore, so I guess my cat is a conjoined twin. Speaking of hilarious birth defects, did you all read about that little girl born in India with 8 limbs? Incredible. She was born into a Hindu family, so they thought she might be the reincarnation of a goddess. That or a spider. But the test for that is pretty simple. They just pop them in a bath and see if they can get out on their own. I've got a little tip for you. If you get stopped by the police in the car and they do the usual thing of getting you to wind down your window and say, excuse me, sir, do you know why we stopped you? Don't say, oh, did you forget? They fucking hate that. I'm actually a very good driver. Last year I got 25 points. My maths teacher always used to say, show you're working out. So in maths, I'd always wear a vest. Have you all been to the cinema recently? Has everyone been to the cinema? See, there's an advert now in the cinema telling you not to buy pirate DVDs because it's not the real cinema experience. And then it goes on to say, because if you buy a pirate DVD, someone might get up in the middle of the film and go for a piss. And you think, yeah, that is annoying. But it's a lot like being in a cinema.
I told my best friend I fucked his wife and got her pregnant. That cured his hiccups.
I got stopped by one of those charity muggers. You know the ones with the clipboard in the high street? And you think, oh, I've dodged him, and then there's another, oh. They work in teams, I don't know how they do it. Anyway, I got stopped, I got cornered. He said, can I have a word about the homeless? I said, certainly. Lazy. Off you fuck. A lot of people say modern art is pretentious, but I look at it like this. The most annoying thing my sister does is that show Chatty Man. That's the most annoying heckle that I get at gigs. I like it when people join in. I like a bit of a heckle and a bit of fun. But the most annoying one I get is when I've set up a joke, just about to do the punchline, and someone goes, invariably it's the same thing. It's always, where's Alan? Where's Alan? It's not my, like, bête noire. It's just a bit annoying. Where's Alan? Who's at your house fucking your dad? I think we all knew, including him, I think we all knew that was a trap. I could feel you as one going, hold, hold, hold. And then one brave soul over there said, no, I'm taking one for the team. Or rather, your dad is.
There's a thin line between neighbourhood watch and becoming a vigilante, and it's a line you cross when you buy a cape. Do you know there's now a warning on superhero costumes? If you buy a superhero costume, it says on it, this costume does not give you special powers. Or indeed the right to see your children.
My ex-girlfriend bought me the Kama Sutra last year as a gift, which put me in a very awkward position. I attempted suicide once, came pretty close, killed the guy standing next to me. It's all right, it was a goth, it's what he would have wanted. Flooding. Flooding's pretty bad. I saw a woman on the news in her flooded front room, crying. I thought, crying's not helping. If anything, you're making matters worse, love.
If you eat a lot of spicy food, you can damage your sense of taste. When I was in India last year, I was listening to a lot of Michael Bolton.
I think the men in the room will be able to relate to this. My girlfriend always wants to stay in and watch Downton Abbey, but I want to go out and get a new girlfriend. I thought it'd be okay for me to have sex with other women because my girlfriend and I were on a break. But apparently, I ruined that weekend at Centre Parks.
I fantasise about having sex with a gymnast. Not just because they're really bendy and flexible and you could do loads of extraordinary positions, but also because I imagine they do a brilliant dismount. They end up by the side of the bed like that. And if they bend their knees even just a little bit, you can make them do it again.
You're familiar with the phrase, fuck buddy. Have you all heard the phrase, fuck buddy? Yes? I've got a friend that didn't know what that meant. I used it in a conversation, and he didn't know what it meant. I had to explain what a fuck buddy was. I said, well, it's like a friend you have regular sex with. He said, well, how's that different from a normal relationship? I said, they're your friend. And you have regular sex with them. It's like the opposite of a normal relationship. I found out the hard way. There's a big difference between hanging out with a mate's girlfriend and hanging out of a mate's girlfriend. Do you ever get that thing where you walk into a room and you totally forget why you've gone in there? You just kind of go, what am I meant to be? Do you ever get that? What? Are you cat people or dog people? What would you say, cat people or dog people? Because to me, it all tastes the fucking same. Sometimes doing this job, you feel very exposed. Not when I'm doing jokes, but when I'm doing an observational bit of comedy, you feel like if no one can relate to this, I'm going to feel a fool. So, share with me if you've had a similar experience. It's always embarrassing when you get an erection during a prostate exam. And they realise, hang on, you're not a real doctor. Joke's on her, she hasn't even got a prostate.
80% of personal ads say good sense of humour required. And the reason 80% of personal ads say good sense of humour required is because everything else in the personal ad is a lie. You turn up on the blind date, she says, I know I said I was petite and pretty, but you've got to laugh. You think, yeah, I notice it also says you enjoy long walks, which is handy because you can fuck right off.
Interesting little fact for you. 3% of all new homes are built specifically for pensioners, and they're called coffins. My grandmother, I loved her to death. Smothered. I'm joking, I fucked her. They just put speed bumps outside my local school. Wow, I'm pretty sure it's a speed bump. I'm 90% sure it was a speed bump. With a satchel. I make my own vegetables. I've got a hammer. My granddad always used to insist on standing up whenever a woman entered the room, which is ultimately what led to him losing his disability living allowance. I was up in North London. I saw a guy in the high street with a guide dog and a white stick. And I went up to him. I went, "You must be blind." He said, "Tell me something I don't know." I said, "There's a tree over there." Don't be a dick about it. Do you get annoyed by cold callers? You know, of an evening, you're at home relaxing after a hard day at work, watching TV, flicking through a magazine, the phone rings, it's a strange voice you don't recognise, talking about something you're not interested in. "Oh, Mr. Jimmy, I have your baby now, you send money quick, you bad man." Fuck off. Do you get this? Do you get the public-private phone call problem? So this is when you're at work surrounded by colleagues or in the pub surrounded by friends, you get a phone call off your other half, and at the end of the phone call, they say something that you would normally say something back, like it's like your thing, but you don't want to say it because there's people around, it's a bit embarrassing. So at the end of the phone call goes, "All right, bye." No, you know I do. No, there's people around. I don't want to. Well, don't be like that. All right, I'll say it. I want to choke you with my cock. Women ask weird questions. Well, the women in my life have always asked weird questions. My girlfriend said to me recently, she said, "Which of my friends do you think is prettiest?" Well, that's what she said. What I heard was, "I fancy a fight." I don't know much about women, but I know there is no correct answer to the question, "Which of my friends do you think is prettiest?" There's nothing I can say that she'll go, "Oh, good." Yeah. And there's going to be trouble, so I thought, well, I might as well be hung for a sheep as a lamb. So when she asked, "Which of my friends do you think is prettiest?" I said, "Well, Karen is pretty, but Susan does that thing with her tongue." If you suffocate in a bag for life, you'd be fucking livid, wouldn't you? Two things really annoy me. You know when you buy stuff and it comes in that super hard plastic that you cannot get a start on? Do you know the stuff I mean? And you end up chipping a tooth. And then you go and get scissors. You'd never dream of getting the scissors first. You think, "I'll try my teeth." Ah. And then the worst thing is when you bought scissors and they've come in that stuff. That annoys me, that and genocide. Oh. Backseat drivers, they're all the same. "Why are we going into the woods? Please let me go." You know those human statues you get in the middle of town? You know the ones painted silver and gold, stand stock still? And then if you give them like 50p when you walk past, they move their hand like a fraction. Actually works out cheaper, if you're going to go past them every day, just to buy a taser. I tell you what I love, and I bet you all love it too. I love the snooze button. Do you love the snooze button? Yeah. Love the snooze, because after 8 hours sleep, I tell you what I need, a nap. Strange but true, isn't it? I wake up in the morning, I'm more tired than when I went to bed the night before. I wake up thinking, I'm exhausted. How tiring is sleep? I need 10 minutes just to take the edge off that.
I'd like to end by talking about threesomes, because it tends to divide the sexes. Most men would be quite up for a threesome with two girls. Most women don't really fancy that action. If you're asked to bring a friend, you tend to get a little bit offended. And I think it's because men are such bad communicators. You know, when we ask for that, women sort of hear, "Oh, what? I'm not enough woman for you. You need 2 women to satisfy you because you're such a big man." That's not what we're saying, ladies. What we're saying is, wouldn't it be brilliant if after sex there was someone there for you to talk to?